Welcome to Fit and Bold, where we promote healthy lifestyles. I'm your host, Lakita Goins. Today's topic is septicemia, or blood poisoning. Septicemia is important because it can develop for a variety of reasons. If left untreated, it can turn to sepsis. And we have Dr. Miles Hartsfield with us today from the UAMS AHEC South Central. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
All right. So first, tell us about septicemia, because I picked this topic because someone that works here had a relative and they had never heard of it that had this, and it caused a lot of trouble.
Okay, septicemia, first to kind of describe what it is it's just a term that we use to describe, it's synonymous with sepsis. It's a term that we use to describe basically when a bacterial infection from whatever source, whether it be the skin, the lungs, wherever the source may be, sort of enters the bloodstream and and then involves the entire body.
Okay, so what causes septicemia?
So again, it's an infection that's left untreated or that is unnoticed for whatever reason, that enters the bloodstream and then becomes a systemic involvement. And so basically it's just caused by whatever the source may be. So a lung infection like pneumonia, or a skin infection or a skin ulcer that lets bacteria enter the body and get into the bloodstream.
Can urinary tract infections cause it?
It
okay.
can.
How common is this problem? How often does it occur?
I mean, it's something we see pretty often especially in the emergency room and in the hospital setting.
So what are the symptoms? Because if you already have some type of infection, how do you know that it's gotten worse?
It's reached that point. So so usually, the symptoms, the primary symptoms would be based on what the infection was. So if you were having a urinary tract infection, you would have the burning and the increased frequency. If you're having a pneumonia or a lung infection, you would have the cough and the fever and chills. And so when it reaches the point to sepsis, usually it's to a point where that patient is pretty sick, and most people can tell they're going to be pretty unstable appearing. Usually they'll be pretty sweaty, or they can even be completely dry and not sweating at all. And so, but usually these patients they have a decreased level of consciousness, and they just are to the point where they're I think anybody that walked by would recognize that they were sick.
Right. So that being said, and the people are already sick, so are most people that get this already in the hospital, or they can be at home? I mean, I'm sure they can be at home, but
they can be at home, and that's sort of the way that those patients typically present to the ER.
Okay.
Is they were in they were home, they live alone, or they were for whatever reason got sick, and sort of no one kind of realized that they were gone, and then checked on them a day or two later, and then they were it progressed to the point where it's involved the whole entire body.
Okay, now how is septicemia diagnosed?
Usually it's basically we can when a patient comes into the ER, we check basic labs. So we look for things like a high white blood cell count that would indicate an infection, and a big thing with sepsis is unstable vital signs. So usually their heart rate will be well above 100, their blood pressure will be low, and this just sort of indicates that it is involving the entire body, and that and there's a magnitude of other laboratory tests that are going to be abnormal. So usually you can culture the organism that's causing it in the blood. So we draw blood and see if anything grows on the blood cultures, and those are ways. Now,
once this is done and you say yes, this patient has septicemia or sepsis, what is the treatment?
Usually it's if the patient's truly septic or severely septic, then we usually put that patient in intensive care for a day or two, depending on the other health problems that they have. But the treatment is usually is IV antibiotics, so tailored to whatever organism that they have that's causing the sepsis, and then identifying what caused it, what other problems that they have, and treating those. And then but for the sepsis itself, IV antibiotics, IV fluids, and then just sort of keeping a close eye on those people.
Okay, so can there be any long-term effects from having septicemia or septis? Yeah, can there be any long-term effects?
You know, sepsis, it's one of the things that we try to prevent in a patient that develops sepsis is damage to their end organs, or so the fact that the bacteria itself is in the bloodstream and being spread to every part of the body, it can cause kidney damage, liver damage, it can cause damage to almost every organ in the body. And so, I mean, if the sepsis was left untreated to the point where, you know, for several days, I mean, the obvious thing that could happen is death. It's a very common cause of.
And it moves fast, or?
It does. It can move very rapidly. But as far as long-term effects, I mean, really, you know, if treated, for the most part, it usually resolves. But
okay. Also, how can it be prevented, or can it be prevented?
I guess the best prevention would be just recognizing that, you know, if it's happening to you, recognizing that if you start to have fever, you start to have really signs of just the overall feeling that you're not feeling well, it's just being, you know, seeing somebody early in the course. You know, the earlier that it's detected and identified, then obviously the better the outcome.
Okay, so I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us on this subject. Some people have heard of it and a lot of people have not, so I think it'll be very informative. When we return, we're going to be doing our Fit and Bold Healthy Recipe Pick. And also, don't forget, if you have a subject that you would like to see on Fit and Bold, or if you have questions that you would like the doctors to answer, you can email us at fitandbold@uapb.edu. That's FITANDBOLD@uapb.edu. Stay tuned.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs, just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
What's up? This is Swiss Beats. Do you know that 1,000 people ages 13 to 24 are infected with HIV every month in the U.S.? As African Americans, HIV hits us harder than any other racial group. We account for over 44% of all new HIV infections in the U.S. You can't tell by looking at somebody if they're infected. Do you know your status? Visit Act Against AIDS to find out where you can get tested for free.
Welcome back to Fit and Bold. Today's healthy recipe pick is spinach salad. So I love spinach and I want to show you that there's a lot of different ways to eat it. So this is going to be really simple. I eat this for dinner often, and you can eat healthy and not be hungry and still be fulfilled. So first I have my spinach, which is rich in iron, it's heart healthy. You have these dark green leaves. I have my leaves pre-washed. I also added some craisins in here already because I like a lot, and this will be my actual lunch today. The next thing I have to add is low-fat cheese. Now you can buy this in any grocery store. And I just go to the shredded cheese aisle and it'll say low fat on the bag. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this liberally over it. Now the cheese is also good. It's low fat, but it's good because it has your calcium and everything you need to be healthy. The next thing I'm gonna officially add are craisins. Now these have vitamin C and other nutrients. So, and it gives a contrast between sweet, and maybe some people may think sweet shouldn't be in a salad, but give it a try. So I'm just gonna sprinkle these liberally around. Now, before I add my meat, I'm going back to my Mrs. Dash salt-free seasoning. A lot of people make this mistake with salads. They don't season their lettuce or spinach or whatever you're eating in your salad before you put dressing on. Now, you can always make a healthy dressing out of olive oil and lemon juice and other seasonings, but if you want to have real salad dressing, as long as it's in moderation. But if you try to season your salad with only dressing, you'll use more than you want. So I'm just going to take my Mrs. Dash, and it's full of different herbs and even vegetables, and I'm just going to sprinkle it around. And if you can see so far, my salad is looking very bright and very good. Bright is heart healthy. So the next thing I'm going to add is I like a little meat on my salad. So I have turkey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my salad out the way, and I'm going to say sometimes if you're going to use packaged meat, okay, but we all do know that processed meat is unhealthy because of the preservatives. So I'm not saying it's really, really bad for you, but that's just the research. So what I did is, this actually came off a turkey leg. I pulled the skin off. I baked this in the oven. So what I have is nice tender turkey that I cooked in the oven. I know how much seasoning is on this, so I know that it's not going to be salty. And what I'm going to do is just cut this up because it's going to go in my salad. And it looks like I actually missed a piece of skin here, so I'm just going to pull that off. No big deal. Skin is the most fattening part on most poultry, so I'm just going to get that off and get the hard gristle off of the edge. And I'm just going to continue to cut my meat, and I'm not really having to cut, I'm just holding it down and pulling it loose, very tender. And so I'm just gonna finish this up, and almost done. And you cut these in whatever chunks you feel like you can eat. And I'm just gonna move my skin and throwaways by themselves. Now, put my salad back in the center. So what I'm gonna do is pick up my whole ripped Ziploc bag, and I'm just gonna sprinkle that turkey on and just kind of shift it around. Now, that completes our salad. So what I'm gonna do is show it to you one more time, completed. Now that is a whole meal. Again, if you want to add your own vinaigrette that you made that'll be extra healthy, that's fine. If you want to use real salad dressing or a low-fat one that you buy out of the store because you don't want to invest the extra time, that's fine, but be mindful of the calories on the back and how much you put on it. And if you pre-season your salad with a nice salt-free blend, you can use less dressing and it'll still be a healthy meal. Now, I want you to stay tuned, but go during the break and get your workout clothes because we're going to do some fit and bold exercises when we return.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect, that's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hi, I'm Sunflower Wilson, a recent graduate with a degree in fisheries biology. As I begin working on my master's, I am confident in the skills and lessons that UAPB has taught me through instructors like Dr. Hawkness.
Sunflower challenged herself with a rigorous course curriculum. Her efforts led to numerous presentations in front of scientific audiences at state and national venues. A National Science Foundation internship gave her the opportunity to go to Alaska and work with scientists examining crustacean physiology. UAPB prepares its students for opportunities like these every day.
UAPB prepared me.
Welcome back to Fit and Bold. It's time for our healthy exercise segment. I have Tori Gordon here with me today. She is a yoga expert. That's what I'm going to call her today. How are you?
Great, thank you.
All right. Tell us about yoga, why it's important. Let's talk about exercise.
Okay. Well, you know, yoga is important just like any other type of activity where you're moving your body. It just keeps you limber. It can reduce stress. And, you know, even what makes yoga unique from maybe other exercises is that there is sort of a meditative or spiritual element to it. So for a lot of people, by practicing the physical postures of yoga, they get a calmer sense in their mind, and it's a way for them to connect with something bigger than themselves.
Okay.
So that's awesome.
It sounds great. So audience, let's get ready to exercise. All right, audience, let's exercise.
Okay, hi. Once again, we can step onto our mat. Basically, what I'm going to show you today is a sun salutation, which is how most yoga practices begin. They're designed to just basically warm your body up. So in a sun salutation, you're going to get postures that stretch your hamstrings, stretch your shoulders out. And I'm going to add some stuff in there just to give you some more ideas. If you can't ever make it to a class, maybe some of this you can take away and try to do it on your own when you have the time. Okay? So for the beginning of a sun salutation, we'd come to our mat. We start off in mountain pose, either our big toes touch or maybe there's about 2 inches in between. First move is to take a big inhale, sweep our arms all the way up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, we fold forward into our forward fold. So here, great stretch for the backs of your legs. As we inhale, we lengthen our spine, come to what we call a halfway lift. So here the crown of your head is pointing towards the front of your mat. You want a straight line between the crown of your head and your tailbone. Hands can rest on your shins or even higher. Depends on how flexible you are. So we take an inhale here, and then we exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up towards the ceiling, and then maybe take a slight back bend. Allow your hips to sway forward. Okay? So it's not gymnastics. You don't have to go all the way back. It's more about just creating that length along the front of your body. Okay? Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, we're going to come into a pose called chair. Okay? So in chair, you want to keep the weight of your body in your heels. One thing to think about is if you can look down, you want to be able to see all 10 of your toes. If you can't see all 10 of your toes, that means you need to sit a little bit further back. If having your arms up this high is uncomfortable, lower your arms so that they're shoulder height. Try to stay in chair for about 3 breaths. You're probably already feeling it in your, in your quads. This is a really great posture for your glutes as well. And then from here, we fold forward, once again to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Good. We're going to plant our hands, step our right foot back. Come into a runner's lunge. So in the runner's lunge, your front knee is over your front ankle. The back leg is straight and that right heel is lifted up. Good. So this is great for your hips, groin, quads, going to stretch it all out. From here, step back. Bring your left foot to meet your right so that you're in plank pose. So plank is like a top of a push-up. What you want to watch out for is a saggy pelvis, all right? And you also want to avoid having the hips too high. You want the hips to be right in line with the shoulders. So try to stay here for 2 to 3 breaths. Then lower your knees down to the mat. We're going to do a chaturanga, also affectionately known as a yogi push-up. What you do, knees are on the mat, take a deep inhale, and then exhale, lower your body down until your arms come to about 90-degree angles. From here, inhale into upward facing dog. So your thighs and knees are lifted off the mat, shoulders are pressing down. Good. Then lower your knees down to the mat, sit your hips back to rest on your heels, and come into child's pose, which is a resting posture, and it's just an overall great posture. It's really good for your lower back, and it's nice and relaxing. In child's pose, your forehead rests on the mat, arms are nice and straight, fingertips spread far apart. And you can stay here for as many breaths as you need. Okay. Then you can inhale, come back up to our tabletop pose. Curl your toes, bring the balls of your feet to the mat. Exhale, lift your hips high to downward facing dog. A great stretch for the backs of your legs, calves especially. In down dog, you want your gaze, I almost slipped. You want your gaze to be at your navel or in between your upper thighs. Okay, elbows are straight. And then inhale, rise to your toes, look to the top of your mat. And exhale, baby step your feet up to meet your hands. Come back to the forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. So we're always putting breath with the movement. Then exhale, bring the palms of the hands together. Lower them down to your heart center. And there you go. Yeah. Good job, you did great.
All right, audience, thank you. That was a great workout. We're gonna go hear from our students now on what it means to be fit and healthy.
Hi, my name is Christian Jefferson from Detroit, Michigan, and my major is in industrial technology.
Industrial technology. So what does it mean to you to be healthy?
It means to be healthy. To me, what it means to just be healthy and to stay fit, so that way you be able to do your everyday tasks and be able to have energy to do it as a young person.
So you've been a student for at least 4 years now. And what about eating healthy? I know that's hard for students.
Eating healthy is pretty big because we know that the nutrients and the things that's in the food can affect our bodies, and it can either slow us down or enhance us to make sure that we become not only attentive in class, but also make sure we can walk this campus and not pass out.
All right, and you mentioned walking the campus, so talk about walking around campus instead of driving.
Oh man, this campus, as you can see, is pretty huge, but it's also good for us to walk because we get to walk around campus, get to enjoy the views, enjoy the people, and get to be healthy because it's like probably a half-a-mile trail, so we get to walk and make sure that we stay fit as well.
Okay, now would you be interested in doing a free exercise class? We have line dancing, aerobics, water aerobics, lap swimming, and Zumba. Would you be interested in one?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be interested in it.
Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello, my name is Jasmine T. McKenzie. My major is agriculture business. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, and I'm a junior.
Okay, now what does it mean to you to be healthy?
To be healthy, you have to be mentally healthy. You have to have everything okay with you. For as physical healthy, you must work out every day, eat a healthy meal so you can prepare for the day and the meal you have ahead of you.
Okay, so tell me about the being mentally healthy. I know as a student you have to balance homework, sometimes work, and everything else. Tell me about that.
Well, to be mentally healthy, you must, I say meditate every day to clear your mind, to get everything okay, to get everything situated. What I personally do is I try to drink more water to clear my mind, and I also try to meditate a couple of hours out of my day and just sit there and listen to some ocean music and just relax, just to clear my mind, because as a college student, we do have a lot going on. We have activities here, classes here, trying to make everything okay there. So you just must have a clear mind just to be healthy so everything can be okay.
That makes sense. Do you exercise?
I do exercise sometimes, not all the time like I should, but 3 times or 4 times a day I do the fine. If you do like a couple of crunches or a couple of sit-ups, it just so you can be okay.
It adds up. So if we told you that we have some free classes on campus, line dancing, Zumba, water aerobics, lap swimming, regular aerobics, would you be interested?
Definitely. I can definitely take out time out my day and do that, because you want your body to be healthy so you won't have problems of diabetes, high blood pressure, and things like that. So it's always good to get into things like that.
Well, I must say it's been great interviewing you. Thank you for taking the time. So, thanks to our students for agreeing to do these interviews on what it means to get fit and be healthy. And a special thanks to Ms. Tori Gordon for showing us some yoga poses. She has classes on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock at Natural Bliss and Thursdays at 6 o'clock at the Waterfront Building, and her contact information is listed below. We also have classes at UAPB through Black and Gold, Fit and Bold, right here. You just need to contact Ms. Cynthia Anderson at 575-8000. Another reminder, if you have show topic ideas, are you a doctor or a cook, anything, you can email fitandbold@uapb.edu. So, getting healthy is a lifestyle change. You have to decide when you're going to start. Don't put it off. Just jump right in. Get fit and be bold.